Buenos días, clase, otra vez. I am going to be talking about 05.02, recorriendo el planeta Tierra. 06.02, touring the planet Earth. Okay, so that is what our themes are for 06.02. Los recursos naturales. These are natural resources. Okay, from the sun and clouds to glaciers, waterfalls and rainforests, there is beauty and purpose in planet Earth's natural resources. So these beautiful pictures of a glacier, the jungle, waterfalls, and mountains with snow on them. This is your opportunity to get the note guide. You grab the note guide, you click it, you can print it, or you can print it, or you can save it, and it saves it as a Word document, so you can actually edit it if you prefer, instead of writing it out as notes. So you can print it and write in it like notes, or you can save it and edit the document for your notes, whichever is easiest for you. But grab that, because that is going to be a really good study resource for you as you go through, and it will help you with your assignment in the end. The next page is Los diferentes ecosistemas. It says, ¿qué encuentras en la selva? En la selva puedes encontrar las montañas, las cascadas y las piedras. Si visitas Chile, puedes ver la selva, las montañas, los glaciares y hasta las llanuras. En los glaciares puedes ver el hielo y la nieve. Chile es un país con diferentes ecosistemas. Get ready to learn more about different natural resources in the different ecosystems. I'm going to look on the English on here. You can get on here. And you can always go over these words. These are like usually words that are a little bit newer or more advanced. And so they have the English right over the top. You can scan that. Okay, so this is Word Explorer. This is how all of the lessons with vocabulary present the vocabulary. You can click on the first one, and you can actually click through all the vocabulary. You can listen to it here. You just push play. It gives you the Spanish. It gives you the English. It gives you the using it in a sentence. So el sol es más grande que la planeta Tierra. And you also have an opportunity to test your pronunciation and practice your pronunciation. So if you go here and you can hear the word
El sol.
el sol. Okay, so you open your thing up and el sol. Okay, so it didn't hear me. That's the good thing about it, is that it will actually, like, if you do not, if it doesn't hear you, it'll tell you what it heard. So, for example, if you said El Sol. Okay, well, it did it that time. If you do something strange, like, let's do another one. El Soleil. Okay, so it'll be like, you're having a lot of trouble. Okay, so yeah, so last one I heard Love So Life. Okay, so if you can go and you go close, El Sol. Okay, so it heard Ghost House. My speaker somehow, sorry for my forehead in this one. El Sol. See, there you go. Okay, so you've got to maybe get really close to your microphone for it to hear you. Okay, so that's how you practice your pronunciation, and make sure if it won't hear you very well, then make sure you get really close to the speaker, like I had to do. Okay, so you can click through, and you can write these in your note guide, which I would really suggest, and practice the hearing it and also pronouncing it, because it's really, those two tools are really helpful to you. También se dice down here. Oh, sorry. Up here, make sure this is just another reminder to get your note guide and fill it out right there. También se dice is they also they say. And so this is, it takes different versions of, what am I trying to say? words, different ways people use different vocabulary. I'm like having a brain problem. But this is our international Spanish. This is what we learn in this course is what it's based on. But there's lots of different variations in Spanish all over the world, like different vocabulary words, different like colloquial words. Um, Colloquial words are like things that like people just say, in that one area, or it's like very local vocabulary. So so you have like la contaminación and then la pollución. Okay, so it's just different versions of the same word that in different places. So it's just it's just fun to learn those because there's a lot of variation in the language. So it's just a way to advance your knowledge of Spanish language in its entirety. Okay, so then you have our new one is our next thing is gramática nueva, irregular verbs in the progressive tense. Okay, just want to check my time. Okay. So, irregular verbs in the progressive tense. Javi, Renati, Soli están siguiendo. This is a present progressive there. El tema del planeta. This is an irregular present progressive. So, it's going to look a little different than what we learned in the last lesson. So, Javi, Renati, Soli están siguiendo el tema del planeta Tierra. But from all the corners of the earth, they have always managed to shift the topic to grammar. Check out the video to learn more about the progressive tense with irregular verbs. Grab your note guide and enjoy this video. So, grab your note guide and watch the video. Javi.
Hola chicos, bienvenidos a mi blog. Esta semana en la escuela estamos hablando sobre el planeta Tierra y la contaminación. ¿Qué piensan ustedes sobre la contaminación? Escriban su opinión en la sección de comentarios. Los veo en el próximo video, parceros. Hola chicas, estoy leyendo los comentarios en mi blog sobre la contaminación.
Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here is that you can kind of go back and forth, but you could push play here. I would really just watch it because if you can't see their mouths moving, then it's really hard to follow along. But when you're done, or if you have a printer, you can print this out. This is the script of what they're saying. And this is always available whenever there's a video with Javi. So you can actually see a script of exactly what they're saying. So you have those two ways of accessing that video. Then you have a self-check down here. So it says, what are the endings for AR, ER, and IR regular verbs in the progressive tense? And the answer is, for AR, it's ando, and for ER and IR verbs, it's yendo. So if you click that, it'll say that exact thing. Okay, so you can test your knowledge on all these 4 questions. Okay, so the next section. So it says, gramática nueva, irregular verbs in the progressive tense. Estás aprendiendo más about verbs in the progressive tense. You're learning more about the verbs in the progressive tense. Before you continue progressing with this lesson, be sure to take notes in your note guide. So again, it's reminding you to get your note guide out. You already know that the progressive tense is 1, used to talk about an action that is happening right now. This was covered in 06.01. So if you haven't done that lesson, it'd be good to go review that or watch the video that I made for that. 2, used to emphasize something that was in progress in the past. Or 3, formed by estar in the present, preterite, or imperfect tense plus present participle. You learned how to use the regular verbs to form present participles in the progressive tense. Now it's time to check out irregular verbs in the progressive tense. So it's irregular verbs in the progressive tense. So you have IR verbs, verbs with spelling changes, and stem changing verbs. So you have these 3 areas to click through that you can review these different irregular forms. You have ir is ir. When using the irregular verb as a present participle in the progressive tense, ir changes to yendo. Here are some samples of ir in the present progressive tense. Manuel está yendo a la selva de Ecuador hoy. Manuel is going to the rainforest today. So these are irregular. IR becomes yendo in the present progressive tense. Estuvimos yendo a la llanura la semana pasada. We went to the prairie last week. Estábamos yendo al museo para ver la colección de rocas. We were going to the museum to see the rock collection. So all of these, what you'll see in common is present, past, and what am I trying to say? Oh, past using imperfect. They're all using yendo here. Okay, so that's what's highlighted here. But the verb, the estar verb is going to change. Okay, but not the present progressive participle. Okay, the present part. Progressive tense. Okay, all right. I'm stumbling over my words now. All right, so the verbs with spelling changes. Verbs with spelling changes. When forming present participles in the progressive tense, some verbs will have a spelling change. Verbs that have a vowel before the ER or the IR ending, such as creer, leer, and construir, will end in yendo. Okay, like this. Ellos estaban creyendo, okay, que el incendio no era tan fuerte. They were believing that the fire wasn't so strong. Ellos estaban creyendo que el incendio no era tan fuerte. Okay. Your next example is Amanda está leyendo, which is leer. Okay, so it becomes leyendo sobre la sequía in California. Okay, Amanda is reading about the drought in California. Okay, so for example, so what they're trying to get you to understand is that IR becomes yendo, okay, in the present progressive, and then you've got your two example different verbs here are creer, leer, and construir, and they all are going to take off that verb ending, the ER or the IR, and become yendo. So their actual whole spelling is going to change for their stem. So you have creyendo, leyendo, and that was the last example. Okay, so then your last irregular area is going to be stem changing verbs. So in stem changing verbs that end in IR are the only ones that will have a stem change when forming a present participle in the present progressive tense. Follow these steps to form a present participle with a stem changing verb that ends in IR. So you start with an infinitive. Your infinitive is sentir and dormir. Okay, this sentir is to feel, dormir is to sleep. So change the IR ending to endo. So sentir becomes sentiendo. Dormir becomes dormiendo. Change the stem from E to I or O to U. And if I run out of time,